Welcome to the Shotokan Chronicles. In today's video, what is a McDojo and how can you tell if you are training in one? But first, please subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell so you never miss any of our videos. So, what is a McDojo? A McDojo is the fast food of martial arts. A McDojo is a martial arts school that is solely established to make money instead of generally teaching martial arts to the students. Back in the 1950s, karate masters decided to spread the martial arts around the world. Now, this was a great idea, but what they didn't realize is that there would be people that would try to exploit it. The widespread popularity and commercialization of the martial arts in the last 50 years or so has led to a huge percentage of McDojos popping up throughout the United States mainly, but all over North America and around the world. While McDojos exist around the world, they don't usually seem to last very long in the country of origin of that particular martial art. So you're not going to see a lot of McDojos in Japan. And the reason for this is competition with legitimate dojos will lead to the downfall of a McDojo in most cases. Are you concerned that you or your child is training in a McDojo? Well, if your school checks off most of these boxes, then there is a possibility that it could be. Keep in mind that not all of these are definite McDojos, but in most cases. Number one, weird names. The school has an odd gimmicky name that is likely made up or references martial arts that don't exist, like Taekwondo Karate or Kempo Taekwondo or Street Karate Fighting System or Snake Crane Boxing, as some examples. Number two, there's no young adults in the classes. All the kids in the classes are black belts and they're around 6 years old. That's not a good sign. Classes are mostly comprised of kids, teens, or older and out of shape moms, dads, granddads, and grandmas. There's no young adults or adults training at the school in any serious capacity, because able-bodied students would rather be in a school where they're going to have realistic challenges as opposed to this more childish way of doing their training. McDojo is usually a safe, harmless training experience. These instructors cater to the lowest level of student or customer by offering very easy and unrealistic training. This is okay for the most part, mainly for beginners. But once you reach intermediate and advanced levels, this type of training likely won't benefit you very much and you'll want to move on to something else. Number three, black belt fast track program. If the school offers a black belt program where you pay a little bit more and you'll be put on the fast track so that you will receive your black belt rank in less than a year or so, maybe 2 at the most sometimes, that's a sure sign that the school exists only to take your money and to teach you the martial arts as a distant second priority. Number four, overuse of the term black belt. In the school, either in its name or the environment, there exists the overuse of the word black belt. On the walls, there's motivational messages that everyone has the capability of reaching black belt. You will become a black belt guaranteed. Or we produce guaranteed black belts in our school, or that kind of advertisement commercialization. Trying to cater to the clueless casual customer that anyone can become a black belt is one of the biggest signs of a McDojo. The reality is simply not true. Becoming a black belt in any martial art takes time, dedication, serious effort, and above all else, commitment. Not everyone will achieve black belt status, and even fewer will train beyond the first level black belt. Everyone can be a black belt in our dojo if you pay enough. You may even get to hold that special rank of red belt if you pay enough. And I've never ever seen a dojo with a red belt. So, number five, there are fees, costs to literally everything. While most schools charge fees for belt gradings, testings, private lessons, if they commercialize every single thing in a martial arts school as an extra fee, this could be a red flag. If the school might charge extra fees for purchasing equipment, But if they charge a fee to purchase a patch to put on your gi that gives you permission to be in a special class, or if they charge you to purchase a special kind of gloves that only they sell, or if the school sells passes to take part in special classes, or they might be keeping beginners in a beginners only class, and only if you pay an additional fee will you be moved or given access to the regular classes or the sparring classes or the open classes. I understand if there's a skill gap difference and keeping students injury free, but if this is done deliberately to hold students back and make beginner students stay at the beginner level for a longer period of time rather than moving them up based on their skill level, that's a red flag. If you must pay a belt grading fee and there is disproportionately large number of stripes between the belts that you have to pay for, this is also a red flag. Now you'll see this a lot in Taekwondo, for example, that they have white belt, yellow stripe, yellow belt. No application. Sparring applications of techniques or moves are never taught or shown, but only talked about or theorized through compliant demonstrations. So most classes consist of just techniques, drills, and forms or kata practice. Sparring is never allowed, or there is no sparring component built into the classes. Now if you're in Shotokai, there's very little sparring in Shotokai, so you're going to have to take this with a grain of salt. But otherwise, this could be looked at as a red flag, and for good reason. This class structure ensures that every student stays as clueless as possible of real application of moves, and the instructor can continue to swindle these students without ever needing to prove that they can actually make their moves and techniques work in a real life sparring environment. Number 7, instructor never spars. The instructor, coach, master, shifu, sensei, shihan, whatever title they go by, never engages in free sparring with his students. While there are exceptions, such as accumulated injuries or advanced age, an instructor should be able to lightly spar or roll with their students, depending on the martial art. So if it's a grappling martial art, they're going to roll around and grapple. If it's a stand-up fighting art, they should be able to lightly spar. If the instructor insists that they cannot be touched, or they cannot spar, and any challenges they deflect to one of their other students, this should be looked at as a red flag. There's no competitions allowed or participation trophies are given out. If the school never competes in competitions or allows students to compete in competitions, this is a red flag. A McDojo or a fake martial arts school will always stay away from competition because they know they will likely lose most of them. Or conversely, they might compete in every single competition and at the end give all of their students a participation award, no matter their performance. So this can be scattered around the club and around the community that this school only produces champions. In the martial arts, just as in reality, there's no such thing as participation trophies. You either win the fight, self-defense encounter, and escape with your life, or you lose. You get injured or worse. Number 9, certification and lineage cannot be verified. To me, this is a big one, but it's a tricky one. If your instructor is asked where he or she got their black belt, or what teachers they have been taught under or studied under, what lineage or organization have they belonged to or they currently belong to, they should have a clear answer, a quick answer, and a quality answer. This factor is obviously more important for traditional martial arts styles, which I do, where importance is placed on authenticity, tradition, terminology, culture, and history. For more modern martial arts, like combat karate, combat sports, or MMA, then lineage and certification and black belt rank is a little less important. The more importance here is placed upon sports, competition, performance, win-loss record, experience, how many champions they've produced, stuff like that. If a martial arts coach has verifiable in-ring combat experience, championship titles, or has a number of champions in their stable that they have taught, then this is where the importance is placed in that scenario. Now there's a flip side to this as well. If your instructor can only rely on name dropping and or throwing around his or her lineage as a means of respect or authenticity or a symbol of quality, but has no real world skill, then watch out. This one could be fake. Number 10. Everyone is eventually promoted. Participation belts. If your school promotes every student on a timely basis, regardless if they did well on their belt grading or how skilled they actually are, then you may be looking at a McDojo. I don't agree with holding students back just because they don't meet a standard, but they have to show improvement. If the student gets promoted quickly by the school to the next belt level or stripe in a matter of months without actually competing, sparring regularly, then they've essentially earned a higher rank just by participating in class and showing up in class, rather than showing and improving their knowledge and their skill level. And worse yet, earning your belt or certificate virtually online. Now, I know unfortunately over the last few years we had to resort to that around the world because of COVID-19 and the restrictions that were placed upon us. But now that some of those restrictions are starting to be taken away and some normality is returning, you need to get away from online training and online certification. We know that martial arts is a physical activity and you cannot trade real training and hard sparring with theoretical knowledge and drills. Anyone who believes martial arts can be practiced and mastered without real, live resistance or fighting is in for a rude awakening should they find themselves in a dangerous scenario. A belt rank or equivalent title of recognition should be earned through blood, sweat, and tears, not just given away by paying money for it or just by showing up to class. Number 11. School is top heavy, everyone is a black belt. If almost every student is a black belt, then this school could be a McDojo. While it may make sense to have a team of high-level black belts that compete in a large dojo, it is impossible for any real quality facility to have more experts than there are students. Now, unless it is a long-standing dojo or it is a professional fighting gym. It is because for advanced students, they usually will have gotten as much as they can get from this martial art or from this instructor, and they'll either quit or move on. They'll leave to train somewhere else, or they'll end up teaching and starting their own dojo themselves. Thus, a successful school requires constantly refreshing their student base, getting new students to join the facility. Therefore, it is only natural and normal that the majority of students are going to be beginners or intermediate level. Now, it is rare for a large number of advanced students to stay and continue to train at the same place for an extended period of time. They would most likely be teachers or instructors already and have their own facility. If almost every member of the school is advanced, or if there is a large number of instructors who are all black belts, then there might be some fishy business going on here. This usually means that their ranks and belts are inflated and that not all of them could possibly be real black belts. Now, there is an exception. I'm in this exception. The dojo that I train at has been around for 40 years, roughly. I've been training there for over 20 years, and there's other black belts that have been training there for a very long time as well. I am an instructor and I have my own dojo, but this dojo is in my hometown where I live, and I train there a couple times a week. And the dojo that I run is in another town that's about 10-15 minutes away, and I go there to teach a couple times a week, but I train with my master, who is an 8th degree black belt and has an abundance of knowledge to pass on. If you go to a dojo and there's a ton of black belts, that doesn't mean that they're all the same rank of black belt. There could be people there that have been training for 4 or 5 years that are 1st degree black belts. There could be people there that have been training for 10 years that are 2nd and 3rd degree black belts. There could be people there that have been training for 15 years that are 4th and 5th degree black belts. Don't just look at a class and go, wow, there's a lot of black belts here, and think that it's not a real dojo. Do some research and see. Because sometimes you're going to walk into a place, especially in small communities, like I live in a small little town that's like maybe around 10,000 people, and you know, your percentage of students that are going to join that club and stick with that club and earn their black belt and stay there gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And you're going to see older, more advanced students that have been around for 20, 30 years that have reached that rank. They're going to be older. But when you look at the younger group, so if there's like 5, 10, 20-year-olds that are black belts, that's where you want to start going, but if there's 4 or 5 adults that are like in advanced ages of their training, that could still be real martial art. There are made up ranks and belts. Everyone has a black sash. If the school advertises a certain martial art that traditionally, or at least officially, does not have ranks or belt levels, then watch out. Maybe a McDojo. In arts such as Kung Fu, Muay Thai, or boxing, there does not exist any known ranks, colored shorts, sashes, or belts. Belt levels are largely a modern, commercialized aspect of the martial arts. This is so that coaches and instructors can look at students and know what level of progression they have reached. Mainly so that a student can say, I'm at this level, I want to get to this level. So it's a way to rank their progression. If the ranks within the system clearly define what a practitioner is supposed to know, and the rank is enforced through quality testing, then it may be okay to be employed. Otherwise, not good. However, if the rank is nothing but a phony or fictitious way of differentiating between low and high, or ranking students who have paid more and stayed more loyal to the school rather than their actual knowledge or skill, then the rank or the belt system is useless and fake, especially if the made-up rank system has 10 levels or more. That is a sure sign of making a student pay their way to the top. Now keep in mind that karate has 10 colored belts and 10 black belts. 10 colored belts you're going to work your way up through, and then you're going to start working through your black belts. But just imagine saying that you're the 25th level in a certain system. That's ridiculous. Beware of instructors who have black belts in Kung Fu or Muay Thai. They just don't exist. So these are a few of the things that you can take into consideration if you think that your dojo might be a McDojo. You need to take all of these with a grain of salt. Some instructors may have been taught this stuff as marketing tools or marketing ideas. They push the everyone can be a black belt idea, that they'll get more people wanting to train. Or if they push, let's get the kids on the track with this, or they come up with some name that they think is cool. Like there's a group that is teaching kids that I've noticed recently, and they have a gimmicky name and a gimmicky little cartoon character, and the kids wear regular clothes and a belt. The instructors are from all different martial art styles, but to me it is a way of, and I'm not going to say the name of this group because I don't want to cause any issues, but to me that this is just a way to make money and to injure the martial arts as it is true martial arts. This kind of a thing, to me, it's a franchise. This group, I'm not going to name, as I said, I'm not going to name names, but they have a headquarters that sets up the dojos for these teachers. They set everything up, and the people just come and teach. It's like a franchising system. That's a McDojo. So if you run into something like that, and that is out there, it's for a special group for kids that you might run into. The silly names, that's a big one for me. Or passing out participation awards, stuff like that. Bringing things into a particular art that doesn't usually fall in that art. Like the idea of belts in Kung Fu or belts in Muay Thai. So these are just a few things. What is going on in your dojo that makes you think it might be a McDojo that is not listed here? Or if you have any that I missed, please let me know in the comments below. Be sure to visit the Great North Apparel. Use the coupon code Shotokan at checkout to receive 30% off of your order. They have some wonderful workout and swimwear that they They sell there, and check them out. Also visit the link that is going to be on the bottom of the screen, or you can find it in the description below for the Shotokan Chronicles shop, where you can get some awesome Shotokan Chronicles swag. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out some of my other videos. I'll see you next time right here on the Shotokan Chronicles.